Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Daily English Talk podcast. I'm your host, Emma.
And I'm Liam. It's great to have you with us today. For anyone tuning in to boost their English, you're definitely in the right place to explore some interesting ideas and, well, improve your understanding.
Absolutely. And today we're tackling, a pretty big question for many of you. The differences between learning English online and, in a traditional classroom. It's something that's really evolved with all the new technology we have now.
It really has. You've got the appeal of learning at your own pace.
Yeah.
Maybe even rewatching bits of a lesson online.
Yeah.
Versus that direct face-to-face connection you get in the classroom. Both have a lot going for them.
They really do. And for English learners, the choice can feel, quite significant. So in our discussion today, we're going to look at the pluses and minuses of each and maybe touch on some real experiences to help you think about what might, suit you best.
And we'll also consider how each approach influences your actual English practice. Think about it like passively watching a lesson. That's quite different from having a spontaneous conversation.
Totally different.
Plus, let's not forget that getting to a physical classroom isn't always easy for everyone. Accessibility is a real factor.
That's such a crucial point. And look, just by listening to us right now, you're already taking a positive step in your learning journey. So, well done.
Definitely. So get comfortable, maybe grab a pen and paper if that helps, and let's really examine these two ways of learning. We might just uncover some surprising things along the way.
Okay, let's get started. So online learning, it's become such a dominant force, hasn't it? Especially after the last few years.
Oh, massively.
For anyone who's maybe not super familiar, how would you describe what online learning actually is, in simple terms?
Okay, yeah. Essentially, it's just using the internet to learn. That could be through your phone, a tablet, a computer, whatever you've got.
Yeah.
You might be joining a live class, like on Zoom, where you interact in real time. Or maybe you're watching pre-recorded videos, like on YouTube, or sites like Coursera or Udemy.
And I think one of the biggest draws, the thing everyone talks about, is the flexibility.
Definitely.
Being able to study whenever, wherever. You fit it around your life, right? Late nights, early mornings, lunch breaks, no travel time, no fixed schedule.
That's huge. I remember taking an online course a while back, something about storytelling.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and being able to log in the evenings after, everything else was done for the day. It was fantastic.
Yeah.
And the ability to just pause, go back, review stuff I didn't quite catch first time.
Yeah.
Invaluable.
Which is such a real advantage for English learners, isn't it? You can listen to native speakers, maybe slow things down, really take your time to process without that pressure of a classroom where, the lesson just keeps rolling on.
Exactly. Yeah. And the sheer range of resources available online now. It's incredible, really. Think about it. Podcasts like this one, language apps galore, grammar websites, YouTube channels covering just about anything.
Online tutors.
Online tutors you can connect with from anywhere. Discussion forums where you can chat with other learners. It's vast.
And let's not forget the cost. That's a big one, too.
Right.
A lot of these online resources are actually free. Or even the paid courses are often, significantly cheaper than enrolling in a traditional language school. It makes learning much more accessible if you're on a budget.
Absolutely. Makes a huge difference. However, it's not all smooth sailing with online learning, is it? There are definitely some challenges involved.
Definitely. I think one of the biggest ones for me, and probably for many people, is just staying motivated. When you're learning at home by yourself, it's so easy to put things off. I'll do it later.
Oh, tell me about it.
Yeah.
Guilty as charged.
Yeah.
Without that physical presence, a teacher right there, classmates around you, it takes a lot of self-discipline to stay on track.
It really does.
Plus, the internet itself, it's designed to distract you, isn't it? One click and you're down a rabbit hole.
Exactly. You sit down with the best intentions, maybe to watch a grammar video, and suddenly you're checking emails, scrolling social media, watching cat videos. It takes real focus.
Another thing is that potential lack of immediate real-time interaction. If you get stuck on something, you can't just, stick your hand up and ask right then and there. And practicing spontaneous conversation, that back and forth, can be more challenging to arrange sometimes.
Yeah, while some online platforms do offer live sessions or maybe group chats or speaking practice tools, it's not like a universal feature.
Not always, no.
So if improving your speaking and listening is a big goal, which it is for many, you really need to actively seek out those interactive elements when you're learning online.
Which might mean finding online speaking groups or getting a language partner through an app. You have to be quite proactive about creating those opportunities for real communication.
Yeah. Okay, so if we're boiling it down, pros for online. Flexibility, cost-effectiveness, huge variety of resources.
Yep.
Cons, needs serious self-discipline, potentially less direct interaction, easy to get distracted.
That pretty much sums it up. Online learning can be incredibly effective for sure, but you need to be aware of those potential hurdles and, have strategies to overcome them.
Right. So we've got a good picture of the online world. Next up, let's shift gears and explore classroom learning the more traditional way. Does it still hold its own? We'll find out.
Okay, now let's turn our attention to classroom learning. This is probably what most people picture when they think about school or education.
Totally. Desks, chairs, a teacher up front, maybe a whiteboard or blackboard.
Maybe some posters on the wall?
Yeah, and a group of fellow students all there together. It's a very familiar scene.
And that's basically it. Classroom learning usually means going to a physical place, could be a school, a college, a language center, at specific scheduled times. You follow a set curriculum, you do activities, often with the other students in the room.
And I think one of the really strong points, maybe the biggest advantage, is that face-to-face interaction. Being able to ask questions instantly, get immediate feedback from your teacher, and also learn from your classmates, hearing their questions, their perspectives.
And that sense of community, being in it together, can be a massive motivator. You're surrounded by people with the same goal. It can be really supportive.
Yeah.
You might even make friends, people who can help you practice or just keep you going.
I can definitely relate. I remember trying to learn Spanish years ago in a classroom. We had to do all these pair work things and group discussions.
Oh, yes, the dreaded pair work.
Exactly. It felt so awkward at first, but honestly, it really pushed me to actually speak more, and eventually it built my confidence.
That's such a key aspect. Classrooms often nudge you, or sometimes shove you, outside your comfort zone. And that's often where the real progress happens, especially with speaking and listening.
And there's that built-in structure, too. You usually have a syllabus, clear lesson plans, homework, maybe tests.
Right. And that structure can be super beneficial for learners who, thrive on routine and knowing what's coming next.
Yeah.
Gives you a framework, helps build discipline. You know what you're covering each week, and there's a teacher guiding you through it all.
And having that qualified teacher right there in the room, that's a big plus. They can explain tricky grammar bits, correct your pronunciation on the spot, adapt the lesson if the class is struggling with something.
They can also often spot individual weaknesses, things you might not even notice yourself, and give you that targeted support. That's harder to get online unless you're paying for, private tutoring.
Very true. But of course, classroom learning isn't perfect either. It has its downsides, its challenges.
Definitely.
Yeah.
A major one is the lack of flexibility we talked about with online learning. You have to be in that specific place at that specific time.
Yep.
Which can be really tough if you've got a busy job or family commitments or just a generally packed schedule.
And the cost factor, again, it can be significantly more expensive. There's tuition, often transport costs, textbooks, materials. It all adds up. Especially in big cities or for private schools.
Yeah, the financial barrier can be real. Also, the pace of the class might not be right for everyone.
Oh, maybe.
Well, some might find it moves too quickly. They feel left behind. Others might grasp things faster and feel a bit bored or held back waiting for the rest of the group.
Ah, right. You're tied to the group's pace, more or less.
Exactly. And for learners who are maybe a bit shy or introverted, speaking up in front of a whole class, making mistakes where everyone can hear you, that can be quite stressful.
Yeah, I can see that. It takes a certain personality to thrive in that kind of group setting, and not everyone feels comfortable. That could actually hinder their progress if they're too self-conscious to participate fully.
Precisely. So to kind of recap the classroom, the big advantages are the structure, the real-time interaction, the teacher support, and that social learning aspect.
Yeah.
But the disadvantages: less flexibility, usually higher costs, the pace might not fit, and it can be stressful for quieter learners.
Right. So it really boils down to personality, lifestyle, what works for the individual. Some people absolutely flourish in that structured social environment. Others really prefer the autonomy and quiet focus of studying at home.
Exactly. So coming up, we're going to put these two side by side again, really compare them directly on a few key points. Which one wins out where?
This should be interesting. Let's really get into the nitty-gritty comparison.
Let's do it, comparing them head to head.
Okay, so we've looked at them individually. Now let's really put online and classroom learning side by side. How do they stack up on those key factors?
Sounds good. Let's compare the pros and cons directly and think about who might lean towards each.
Okay, first up, flexibility. We've touched on this a lot, but it seems like online learning is the clear winner here.
Yeah, I think that's fair to say, without a doubt. That ability to study whenever suits you, wherever you are, that's a huge plus for people juggling life.
Right. Whereas a classroom demands you're in a specific place at a specific time. Miss a class, you've missed the content, pretty much.
That's true. Although, flipping that, as we said, that fixed schedule can provide discipline. Some people need that appointment to actually sit down and do the work.
That's a fair point. Some of us definitely need that external push to avoid procrastinating. Okay, what about interaction? Where does each method shine?
Well, traditionally, in-person classrooms have the edge here. You've got that direct, immediate communication with the teacher, with your classmates, real-time feedback.
And that social side, right? Learning together, sharing the experience, maybe building friendships. There's a sense of community.
Definitely. Online learning, especially the self-study kind, can sometimes feel a bit isolating in comparison. Just you and the screen for long periods.
Yeah. Although it's worth saying again that online tools are getting better, aren't they? Live classes on Zoom, group chats, language exchange apps, they can bridge that gap somewhat.
They certainly can. So the level of interaction online really depends on how you're learning online, what tools you're using. You might need to be more intentional about finding it.
Okay. Let's talk money. Cost.
Go.
Big factor for most learners.
Yeah. And generally, online learning tends to be more affordable. There are tons of free resources out there, YouTube, podcasts, blogs, apps.
Right.
And even the paid online courses often come in cheaper than traditional language school fees.
Plus, you save on commuting, maybe physical textbooks, registration fees sometimes.
Yeah.
Those costs associated with a physical place add up.
They really do. So if budget is a major concern, online often looks more appealing.
Okay. How about the pace of learning? Big difference there.
Huge difference, I'd say. Online learning puts you firmly in the driver's seat. Go fast, go slow, pause, rewind, skip ahead. It's all up to you.
Which is great if you need a bit more time to really understand something, or if you already know a topic and want to move on.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Whereas in a classroom, the teacher usually has to aim for a kind of middle ground pace for the whole group.
Which can mean some people feel rushed, and others feel a bit bored or held back.
Potentially, yeah. But then again, some people thrive on that group dynamic. Hearing other people's questions, working through problems together, that can be really beneficial too.
So it really depends if you're more of an independent learner or someone who learns well collaboratively.
Precisely. Oh, and one more practical point for online.
Yeah.
The tech requirements.
Yes, good point.
You need reliable internet, a decent device phone, tablet, computer, and maybe a quiet space, stable power.
And that's just not the reality for everyone, everywhere. Access can be a real barrier.
Whereas a classroom generally provides all that infrastructure. You just need to get yourself there.
Okay, quick summary then. Online, super flexible, often cheaper, self-paced, but can be isolating, needs self-discipline, and depends on tech.
Yep. And classroom. Structured, very interactive, great support from teacher and peers. But less flexible, usually costs more, and the group pace might not suit everyone.
And as we keep saying, there's no single best. It's about finding the best fit for you.
Exactly. And remember, it's not always an either choice. Lots of people find ways to combine them effectively.
Yes, the blended approach. We'll definitely touch on that more. It's becoming really popular.
It is. But whether it's online, classroom, or a mix, the most important things are consistency, motivation, and choosing something you can actually stick with in your life.
Okay, next, let's narrow the focus even more. How do these methods stack up specifically for learning English, particularly for getting better at speaking and listening?
Good question. Can you really get fluent just clicking around online? Or do you need that classroom buzz? Let's explore that.
All right, so let's really zoom in now. How do online and classroom learning specifically impact learning the English language itself?
Yeah, this is key, because language learning isn't quite like learning history or math, is it? You need active practice across all the skills: listening, speaking, reading, writing.
And for so many people learning English, the big goal, the dream goal really, is to speak confidently, to have natural conversations out there in the real world.
So the million-dollar question: can you genuinely develop strong English speaking skills if you're mainly learning online?
I think. Yes, but with a caveat. It's definitely possible, but it really, really depends on you actively engaging, not just passively watching or reading.
Totally agree. You have to use the language, speak it, write it, interact with it. Just, Watching 100 grammar videos isn't going to magically make you a fluent speaker.
But the good news is there are loads of ways to get that active practice online now. Apps that connect you with native speakers for chats.
Yep, loads of those.
Online conversation groups, live tutoring sessions, even AI tools you can practice speaking with now, which is kind of amazing.
It's pretty cool. And let's not dismiss the value of passive stuff too, though. Listening to English podcasts like this one, hopefully.
Shameless plug.
Hey, why not? Watching shows with subtitles, even just repeating phrases you hear out loud to yourself.
Yeah.
It all helps build familiarity and confidence.
Absolutely. We've actually had listeners tell us they pause our podcast and repeat phrases to work on their pronunciation, which is fantastic.
That's brilliant to hear.
Yeah.
Now, shifting to the classroom. For speaking practice, the advantage is often the structured opportunities. The teacher sets up role plays, dialogues, pair work.
And you get that immediate feedback. If you mispronounce something or make a grammatical slip while talking, the teacher's right there to gently correct you. That's incredibly useful.
That kind of instant, on-the-spot correction, it's harder to get consistently online unless you're in, say, a live class or paying for one-on-one tutoring.
Plus, just being in that classroom environment forces you to practice real-time communication, listening to others, responding, asking questions. It mimics actual conversation flow.
True. But let's remember the flip side again. Not everyone can get to a classroom. And even if you can, if it's a big class, you might not actually get that much individual speaking time yourself during the lesson.
That's a really important point. You might only speak for a minute or two in a whole hour if the class is crowded.
Whereas online, you could book a 30-minute session with a tutor where you're speaking pretty much nonstop. Or you could chat daily with a language partner on an app.
So again, it's about weighing the options based on your priorities. Classrooms give you that structured, live interaction. Online offers flexibility, affordability, and potentially more frequent, focused practice if you seek it out.
Maybe instead of asking which is better, the question should be which is better for me right now.
I like that framing. Like maybe if you're a complete beginner, the structure and guidance of a classroom is perfect for building a foundation. But if you're more advanced and really want to push your fluency, maybe focusing on daily online conversations makes more sense.
Or mixing them, especially for exams. Maybe you take a prep class for the structure and strategies, but do loads of online practice tests and speaking drills at home.
Ultimately, learning English is a journey, isn't it? The most vital ingredient is just keeping at it, consistently putting in the effort, whichever way you choose.
Absolutely. And honestly, even just listening to this right now, you are engaging with English. You are making progress. So pat yourself on the back.
Definitely. The best approach is simply the one that fits your life, your style, and your goals, and helps you stay consistent.
Couldn't agree more. Okay, coming up next, let's get really practical. We'll share some top tips for making the most of your learning, whether you choose online, the classroom, or a bit of both.
These are actionable things you can start doing today to boost your English success. Stay with us.
Okay, so we've explored the where and how of learning English online, classroom, the differences. Now let's talk about making it actually work for you. How can you succeed?
Yeah, because choosing the method is just the first step, right? Success really comes down to how you use that method.
Exactly. So tip number 1, and this is crucial. Set clear goals. Really think about why you're learning English. Is it for travel? A better job? An exam? Just to chat with people?
Knowing your why gives you direction. It keeps you motivated when, the going gets tough.
Definitely. Yeah. Tip number 2, establish a routine. Consistency is king in language learning. Even short, regular study sessions are way more effective than cramming once a week. Try to make it a habit.
Yeah, even just 15 or 20 minutes a day adds up incredibly fast. Little and often is so much better than boom and bust.
Tip 3, start speaking early. Don't wait until you feel perfect or ready. You'll be waiting forever.
True.
Start from day 1. Even if it's just repeating words, simple phrases, get your mouth used to making English sounds.
You could read things aloud, describe what you're doing during the day, even talk to yourself in English. Sounds weird maybe, but it builds fluency and confidence.
And actively seek out a language partner if you can. Someone to practice speaking with regularly. Even short daily chats make a huge difference.
There are lots of apps and websites for that now, connecting learners, like HelloTalk or Tandem. Worth checking out.
Good tip 4, use a variety of resources. Don't just stick to one textbook or one app. Mix it up. Listen to podcasts, watch videos, play language games, read books or articles, find real conversations. Keep it interesting.
Then try to make it fun. Incorporate things you genuinely enjoy. If you love movies, watch them in English. Follow YouTubers you like. Sing along to English songs.
Love it. Tip 5. Track your progress somehow. It helps you see how far you've come, which is really motivating.
How can people do that?
Well, maybe keep a notebook of new words you learn. Record yourself speaking every month or so and listen back. Take little quizzes online. Just find a way to notice your improvement.
I used to keep a list of cool phrases I heard in movies and then try to use them myself. It felt good when I managed it.
Nice. Okay, next tip. Super important. Don't be afraid to make mistakes.
Oh, this is a big one.
It really is. Mistakes are normal. They're necessary. They show you're trying and learning. Honestly, even native speakers mess up sometimes.
So true. Think of mistakes as learning opportunities, not failures. It's a mindset shift.
Exactly. Right, another key tip, immerse yourself. Surround yourself with English as much as you realistically can.
Like changing your phone language.
Yeah, change your phone language, your computer settings, write your shopping lists in English. Follow English news sites or social media accounts.
Basically, create your own little English bubble. Even if you don't live in an English-speaking country, that constant exposure really speeds things up.
It does. And the final tip, be patient with yourself. Language learning is a marathon, not a sprint. It takes time. There will be ups and downs.
Totally. Some days you'll feel like you're flying, other days you might feel stuck. That's normal.
So celebrate the small wins. Understanding a joke, ordering coffee successfully, having a short chat. These are big milestones. Acknowledge them.
Great tips. So just to recap quickly, set goals, get a routine, speak early, use varied resources, embrace mistakes, immerse yourself, and be patient.
That's the recipe, more or less. Keep those in mind, and you'll be well on your way.
You really can do this. We believe in you.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, one last area to explore before we wrap up. What about combining the best of both worlds? Blended learning. Is that the ultimate solution?
Let's find out right after this. So, we've talked a lot about online versus classroom, the pros and cons of each, but what if you didn't have to choose? What about doing both?
Blended learning. Yeah, this is a really effective approach that's becoming super common, and for good reason.
So just to be clear, blended learning means you're mixing those methods, right, using both classroom instruction and online tools.
Exactly. You're getting the structure, maybe the face-to-face interaction of a classroom, but you're also using the flexibility and, the vast resources of the online world for self-study and practice. It's leveraging the best bits of both.
So like the classroom gives you the main lessons, the foundation.
Maybe the teacher explains concepts, leads discussions.
And then the online part is where you reinforce it, practice it, review it in your own time.
Precisely. Like imagine you attend an English class twice a week.
Okay.
In between those classes, you use a vocab app on your phone, you listen to English podcasts on your commute, maybe you chat with an online language partner for 15 minutes each evening. That's blended learning.
Right. Or maybe you're studying for, say, the IELTS exam. You go to a weekly prep class to learn strategies and get feedback.
Yep.
But then at home, you're hammering online practice tests, watching YouTube videos explaining specific grammar points the teacher mentioned, using an app to drill vocabulary.
Exactly that. This combination means you're engaging with English much more consistently, probably daily, not just during those few hours you're actually in the classroom.
Keeps the momentum going.
It does.
Yeah.
And it can work the other way too, right? Maybe someone primarily learns online using courses and apps.
Yeah.
But they make a point of going to a local English conversation club once a month, or attending language exchange meetups in their city to get that real in-person practice.
That's a good point. Getting some face-to-face interaction can really build confidence in a different way than just typing or listening online.
It really can.
Yeah.
Another benefit is targeting weaknesses. Maybe your class is great for grammar, but you feel you need more speaking practice. So you use online tutors or conversation apps specifically for that.
You can kind of customize your learning plan.
Totally. And because you're using different methods, listening in class, reading online, speaking on an app, watching videos, it caters better to different learning styles too. Visual, auditory, kinesthetic. There's something for everyone.
So it sounds like for someone who's really serious about making progress, blended learning could potentially be the most, balanced and effective approach overall.
I think for many learners, yes. It offers that structure and flexibility, guided learning, and independent practice. It's highly adaptable.
And nowadays, with so many brilliant and affordable online resources out there, putting together your own blended learning plan is actually quite achievable for most people.
It really is. It means you can keep learning and progressing wherever you are at home on a go, in the classroom, continuous progress.
That seems like a really powerful way to learn.
Definitely worth considering.
Oh.
Okay, I think that covers blended learning. Shall we wrap things up?
Sounds good. Let's pull together some final thoughts.
Well, that brings us towards the end of our discussion today. We've definitely covered a lot: the pros and cons of online learning, the strengths and weaknesses of classroom learning, those crucial tips for success, and just now, the idea of blended learning.
Yeah, it's been a good exploration, and I really hope listening has helped you feel a bit more informed, maybe a bit clearer about which approach or combination of approaches might work best for you.
And just to hammer it home one last time, there really is no single best way to learn English that works for absolutely everyone.
Nope.
The ideal choice is so personal. It depends on your life, your budget, your personality, your goals, how you like to learn.
Absolutely. Remember, you're in charge of your learning journey. You have the power to choose what works, to adapt, to find ways to improve and succeed.
And please, be kind to yourself along the way. Some days will feel harder than others. Learning a language isn't always easy, but every single time you listen, read, speak, or write in English, even for a few minutes, you are making progress. That's so true. And think about what you're gaining. It's not just grammar rules, it's confidence. It's opening doors to new experiences, new friendships, new opportunities. It's connecting with a global community.
So just by tuning in today, by dedicating this time to thinking about your learning, you're showing commitment. And that's fantastic. Seriously, well done.
We genuinely believe in your ability to achieve your English goals, whatever they may be, and we're cheering you on.
And if you found this conversation useful, please do subscribe or follow our podcast so you don't miss future discussions. Maybe share it with a friend who's also learning. And a review always helps others find us.
We'd also love to hear your experiences. Are you an online learner, a classroom fan, or rocking a blended approach? Let us know.
Until next time.
Keep learning, keep practicing. Host speaker and expert speaker, and keep talking in English.